In a galaxy filled with terrifying predators, one creature stood above all others, its name whispered in fear across countless star systems: the Ferris. A monstrous, sleek predator with glowing black scales, razor-sharp claws, and eyes that could pierce the soul, the Ferris hunted with terrifying precision, leaving no creature, no matter how powerful, safe from its deadly grasp. Entire fleets had been wiped out in failed attempts to capture or track it, and its mere presence sent the bravest of warriors fleeing. But on the lush and dangerous planet of Riva, the humans, newcomers to the galaxy, found themselves facing this ultimate terror. The stakes were high, and victory seemed impossible. Yet, in the most unlikely of alliances, a human named Captain Elias Drake set out to understand the Ferris, not as an enemy to be destroyed, but as a creature to be respected. What followed would change the galaxy's view of humanity forever, proving that sometimes, the greatest warriors are those who understand their enemies the most. The Ferris was legendary across the galaxy, a predator whose mere name struck terror into the hearts of all who heard it. Towering in size, its sleek, muscular body was built for speed and power, making it an apex hunter in any environment. Its shimmering black scales reflected light with an eerie glow, visible even under the moonlight, giving it an almost supernatural presence. The creature's razor-sharp claws could tear through metal as easily as paper, and its teeth, resembling daggers, were perfect for rending flesh. But it was its eyes, pale, piercing, and almost otherworldly, that haunted those who dared encounter it. Said to see into the very soul of its prey, the Ferris had an uncanny ability to track and hunt with terrifying precision. The Ferris was more than just a monster. It was a force of nature. No creature, no matter how strong or cunning, was safe from its pursuit. Entire fleets had been obliterated in failed attempts to capture or study the Ferris. It moved silently through dense jungles, a shadow among shadows, and struck without warning. The galaxy had long recognized it as the ultimate terror, a predator whose presence on a planet could turn even the most seasoned warriors into frightened fugitives. Stories of its ruthless hunting tactics and devastating speed were whispered in dark corners of spaceports, and the bravest explorers who survived encounters with it spoke of it only in hushed tones, unable to shake the images of the beast's relentless gaze. Despite the Ferris's reputation as the most feared predator in the galaxy, there was one species that refused to cower in its presence: the humans. The story of humanity's struggle against the Ferris began on the lush and resource-rich planet of Riva, a prime location for human colonization. Riva was a beautiful world, dotted with sprawling jungles and vast oceans, making it an ideal habitat for both human settlement and a wide array of dangerous wildlife. Yet, it was also home to the Ferris, a creature whose predatory instinct had made it the top threat to the human colony's survival. For years, the humans on Riva had attempted to defend themselves using advanced weapons, sophisticated defenses, and coordinated military strategies. But nothing seemed to stop the Ferris. The creature hunted with deadly precision, undeterred by the colony's technological prowess. Entire teams of soldiers had been wiped out by the creature, and morale among the colonists had plummeted. Despite their best efforts, it became clear that brute force was insufficient in stopping the Ferris. The humans found themselves losing the battle against an enemy they could not understand or predict, and their survival was hanging by a thread. In their desperation, the colony's leadership turned to an unlikely figure, someone who was known for his uncanny ability to survive impossible odds: Captain Elias Drake. Captain Elias Drake was not your average military officer. A former Special Forces operative, he had earned a reputation across the galaxy for his calm demeanor in the face of death and his exceptional knowledge of alien wildlife. Over the course of his career, Drake had faced countless deadly creatures, each more terrifying than the last, but nothing could have prepared him for the Ferris. Known for its incredible speed, intelligence, and ruthless hunting strategies, the Ferris was a predator unlike any other in the galaxy. When Drake arrived on Riva, he quickly realized that defeating the Ferris would require a different approach, one rooted not in overwhelming firepower, but in understanding, Unlike others who had tried to kill the creature outright, Drake knew that brute force was futile against such an apex predator. Instead, he decided to observe and study the ferris from a distance, using his deep knowledge of animal behavior to track its movements and understand its motives. For weeks, Drake ventured into the dense jungles of Riva, carefully noting the ferris's patterns, its feeding habits, and its hunting strategies. What he discovered was surprising. The ferris wasn't the mindless, bloodthirsty killer that many believed it to be. Instead, the creature displayed an intelligence that was rare for predators of its kind. It hunted strategically, with purpose, and would avoid creatures that could pose a threat to it. It wasn't driven by pure bloodlust, as most had assumed, but by an instinctual understanding of the balance within its ecosystem. This breakthrough in understanding would prove to be the key to humanity's survival on Riva. Captain Elias Drake's breakthrough came when he realized that the ferris was not just a mindless predator, but a creature with a deeper purpose. It wasn't driven by random violence or thirst for blood, as many believed. The ferris hunted to maintain the natural balance of its ecosystem, a vital role in its world that was essential for the survival of other species. When Drake discovered this, it changed everything. The ferris wasn't an enemy to be eradicated. It was a guardian of the ecosystem. It only attacked when it felt the balance was threatened. When the threat was neutralized, it would retreat, not out of fear, but because its job, preserving balance, was done. Armed with this new understanding, Drake proposed an audacious plan to his superiors. Rather than attempting to kill the ferris or eliminate it as a threat, he suggested that humanity try to form an alliance with it. His theory was that if they could earn the creature's respect and understand its motives, the ferris could stop attacking the humans and even protect them from other predators and dangers on Riva. It was a radical proposal, one that seemed almost impossible, but given the dire situation the colony faced, Drake's superiors reluctantly agreed to let him proceed. They had no other option left, as traditional methods had failed, and humanity was on the brink of losing its foothold on Riva. Drake's approach was methodical and careful. He didn't rely on brute force or advanced weaponry. Instead, he focused on the ferris's behavior, aiming to communicate with it in a way that didn't provoke it. Unlike previous attempts that involved hunting the creature, Drake entered the jungle with the sole intention of observing, learning, and building a connection with the beast. He used body language and subtle gestures to demonstrate that he wasn't a threat. The idea was simple yet profound. Communicate with the ferris, understand its instincts, and show it that humanity respected its role in the ecosystem. It was the first step in what would become a remarkable and unconventional partnership. Captain Elias Drake's strategy of patience and understanding eventually paid off when the ferris finally approached him in the dense jungle. This moment was the culmination of weeks of careful observation and silent communication. Up until this point, the creature had remained distant, its glowing eyes watching Drake from the shadows, analyzing him with a predatory gaze. But instead of showing aggression or fear, Drake maintained a calm and steady presence, never making any sudden movements. His body language was non-threatening, and over time, the ferris began to recognize that he was not like the other humans it had encountered, those who sought to harm or eliminate it. The encounter itself was tense. As the massive creature emerged from the undergrowth, Drake could feel the weight of its gaze. The ferris circled him, its claws scraping against the ground, its immense form towering over him. Despite the raw power of the predator, Drake remained still, his heart racing, but his composure unwavering. He understood that any sign of fear or hostility could jeopardize the fragile connection they had started to build. In an almost imperceptible movement, the ferris lowered its head slightly, a gesture that, while subtle, was significant. It was a silent acknowledgement, a recognition of Drake's presence as something more than just prey or an enemy. From that moment on, the dynamic between Drake and the ferris began to shift. The creature, instead of attacking, observed him with growing interest, and Drake began to lead human expeditions into the jungle with the ferris following behind, acting as an unusual yet powerful guardian. As the humans navigated the treacherous jungle, the ferris would protect them, intervening with deadly precision whenever a threat, such as another predator or hostile force, emerged. It wasn't just an alliance formed out of necessity, it was an understanding that went beyond mere survival. The Ferris, once seen as an unstoppable killing machine, had transformed into an unlikely protector, proving that even the most fearsome predators had a deeper purpose when approached with respect and understanding. As the humans and the Ferris began their strange but growing alliance, the relationship quickly shifted from one of mere survival to mutual respect and understanding. Initially, the humans had seen the Ferris as an unstoppable force of destruction, an apex predator that no technology or weapon could combat. However, under Drake's leadership, they began to perceive the creature in a new light. They learned that the Ferris wasn't just a mindless killer, but a being with purpose, guided by an innate understanding of the delicate balance within its ecosystem. The creature hunted not out of senseless violence, but to maintain equilibrium in its environment. The humans, now fully aware of the Ferris's role as a guardian of the natural order, adjusted their strategies to coexist with it rather than fight against it. In practical terms, this meant that the humans would avoid unnecessary conflicts with other creatures, allowing the Ferris to play its part in the ecosystem. The Ferris, in turn, stopped viewing the humans as intruders and began to protect them, defending the colony against other predators or hostile forces that would have otherwise caused significant harm. Its attacks were swift and calculated, delivering justice to the aggressors without hesitation, often striking before the humans even had the chance to react. This shift was revolutionary. No longer did the humans see the Ferris as an enemy to be defeated, but as a protector, an ally whose actions were driven by an ancient and powerful instinct to preserve life. Over time, the humans' presence in the jungle became less of a disturbance and more of a natural part of the landscape, with the Ferris safeguarding them from threats and guiding them through the dangerous terrain. What had once been the most feared predator in the galaxy was now seen as a vital part of the colony's survival, working alongside the humans to ensure their continued existence on the planet Riva. News of this unexpected alliance quickly spread throughout the galaxy, shocking those who had long believed the Ferris was a creature of pure malice. Other species, especially those who had feared the Ferris for centuries, began to question their previous assumptions. The humans' ability to not only survive but thrive alongside such a fearsome creature was a testament to their adaptability and respect for the natural world. The relationship between humans and the Ferris changed the way the galaxy viewed both species. The humans had achieved the impossible. They had tamed the untamable, earning the respect of a creature that once seemed destined to destroy them. In doing so, they demonstrated the power of understanding and coexistence, proving that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in destruction, but in the ability to form meaningful connections. The success of the humans' alliance with the Ferris had far-reaching implications not just for the colony on Riva, but for how the galaxy viewed both humanity and the legendary predator. Once seen as a threat, the Ferris was now viewed with a new perspective, as a guardian, a protector, and even a symbol of balance. Other species who had long feared the Ferris as one of the most dangerous predators in the galaxy were now forced to reconsider their preconceived notions. The idea that a species as young as humans could forge an understanding with such a terrifying beast was groundbreaking. For the humans, the alliance with the Ferris wasn't just about survival, it was about redefining their place in the galaxy. By demonstrating their unique ability to understand the Ferris's motives and offer respect in return, humanity proved that they could coexist with forces far beyond their control. It wasn't brute strength or superior weaponry that brought success, but rather the willingness to learn, adapt, and forge unexpected alliances. This approach to problem-solving resonated with other species, particularly those who were not accustomed to thinking in such nuanced terms. Where others saw a creature to be destroyed, humans saw a creature to be understood, and in doing so, they gained a powerful ally. The success of the alliance quickly became a source of fascination and respect across the galaxy. Scholars and diplomats, even those from species that had historically been more aggressive or isolationist, began to study the methods of the humans and the Ferris. They wanted to learn how humanity had achieved what was once thought impossible. This newfound reputation as peacekeepers and mediators began to shape how the galaxy perceived humanity's role in the larger galactic community. No longer seen as a species struggling for survival, humans were now viewed as a species capable of working with even the most formidable forces in the universe. However, this success also carried its own set of challenges. As news of humanity's victory over the Feraxis spread, not all species reacted positively. There were factions within the Galactic Council and beyond who viewed this alliance with suspicion. Some believed that humans, having successfully allied with a creature once considered a monster, were growing too powerful, too influential. The very fact that the humans had not only survived, but thrived in an environment once ruled by one of the most feared predators made some uneasy. Were humans becoming too good at making allies? Could their ability to bridge divides and foster cooperation with such dangerous creatures be seen as a threat? These questions would continue to hang over humanity's future as they navigated their place in a galaxy where balance, power, and perception were constantly in flux. Despite these concerns, the alliance with the Feraxis had cemented humanity's position as one of the most resourceful and adaptable species in the galaxy. Their ability to form lasting bonds with creatures once considered irreconcilable forces, such as the Feraxis, was a testament to their understanding of the universe's complexities. Humanity had not only tamed the untamable, but had also proven that the strength of a species doesn't lie in its weapons or military power, but in its ability to understand and respect the world around it. An insight that would continue to shape their role in the galaxy for generations to come. The alliance between the humans and the Feraxis quickly became a game-changer in the way the galaxy viewed both humanity and the predator species. This unprecedented success, born from understanding and respect rather than sheer force, altered the balance of power and relationships across the galaxy. Initially, many species saw the Feraxis as an unstoppable force of nature, a creature that represented the brutal, unforgiving aspect of the galaxy's wild and dangerous nature. Entire fleets of ships had been destroyed trying to capture or kill it. The fear surrounding the Feraxis was so deeply ingrained in galactic culture that it became a symbol of the untamable power of the universe, something beyond the reach of any civilization, no matter how advanced. However, humans demonstrated that brute force wasn't always the solution to overwhelming threats. By forging a bond with the Feraxis, they showed the galaxy that there was more to survival than weapons and warfare. Humanity's success in navigating the complex relationship with such a fearsome creature challenged traditional thinking. The idea of taming or understanding the Feraxis as a protector and ally, rather than an enemy, made other species take a step back and reconsider their own methods of dealing with threats. The galaxy's established power dynamics, which were largely shaped by military might, began to shift toward valuing cooperation, negotiation, and strategic alliances, especially when confronted with formidable adversaries. This was particularly significant for the more isolationist and militaristic species, who had long relied on their own strength to dominate or defend their territory. These species began to question whether their approach was sustainable in the long run, especially after seeing how the humans had successfully gained the trust of one of the galaxy's most deadly predators. It wasn't just about having the most firepower. It was about understanding the ecological and behavioral dynamics of the galaxy's diverse species and learning how to live in harmony with them. The story of the humans and the Feraxis sent a message. Sometimes the key to survival wasn't fighting harder, but understanding more. The human approach also drew attention from scholars, diplomats, and peacekeepers who studied the cultural and ecological aspects of the Feraxis. They sought to understand how humans could have recognized and respected the delicate balance of the creature's ecosystem, while others had only seen it as a monster. This new approach to diplomacy and interspecies relations was soon seen as a model for future galactic conflict resolution. Rather than exterminating every threat, humanity was showing the universe that with patience, respect, and a willingness to understand the larger picture, even the deadliest creatures could be turned into protectors and allies. As the story of the Alliance spread, humanity's reputation as peacekeepers grew. They were no longer just a young species trying to carve out their place in the galaxy. Instead, they were seen as capable diplomats, wise beyond their years, willing to make difficult decisions for the greater good. They had shown that even the most dangerous predators could have a role to play in the larger galactic ecosystem, provided that their needs and instincts were understood. This shift in perception changed the way other species viewed humanity, not as a threat to be controlled, but as a force for good, capable of bringing balance even to the most chaotic corners of the galaxy. In the aftermath, humans continued to work as mediators and negotiators, helping to bridge gaps between species that had previously been at odds. Their expertise in dealing with the Feraxis and other dangerous creatures made them highly sought after as advisors in situations involving high-stakes diplomacy. Humanity's growing influence also led to the creation of new intergalactic organizations that focused on promoting peace and balance between different species. These organizations, often led or advised by humans, became crucial in addressing galactic crises, ranging from environmental disasters to cultural misunderstandings. Ultimately, the humans' alliance with the Feraxis was more than just a victory over a deadly predator. It was a lesson to the galaxy that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in the ability to conquer, but in the capacity to understand and adapt. In doing so, humanity had earned not only a powerful ally, but also the respect of the entire galaxy, reshaping how other species saw them, not just as survivors, but as vital contributors to the future of the galaxy. As news of the humans' alliance with the Feraxis spread throughout the galaxy, the impact of this unprecedented partnership went beyond the immediate success of the Riva colony's survival. It became a symbol of a deeper shift in interspecies relations across the galaxy. The notion that the humans had not only survived but thrived in their interactions with one of the galaxy's most fearsome predators sparked a wave of reflection among other species. Many began to question their long-held beliefs about strength, survival, and what it truly meant to be a dominant force in the galaxy. For centuries, most species had measured their power by their military capabilities, their technological advancements, or their ability to conquer and control. Whether through overwhelming firepower or territorial dominance, success had been synonymous with aggression. The galaxy's complex web of politics, trade, and diplomacy had always been influenced by these principles of power and control. The humans, with their unorthodox approach, had shaken that foundation by demonstrating that understanding and cooperation were equally, if not more, effective in dealing with threats and challenges. The Feraxis, once considered an unstoppable force of nature, had been redefined through the eyes of those who feared it. It was no longer seen merely as a monster lurking in the shadows, but as a guardian of the natural balance of its ecosystem. The realization that the Feraxis' hunting instincts were tied to maintaining the equilibrium of the planet's food chain, and that it did not attack indiscriminately, but in response to disturbances in that balance, shifted the narrative entirely. The Feraxis became more than just a predator. It became a symbol of the delicate balance between all life forms in the galaxy, and humanity's ability to understand and respect that balance made it a powerful ally. The humans' success in this alliance also highlighted their capacity for innovation in diplomacy. While other species relied on traditional methods of conflict resolution, negotiation, military force, and power struggles, humans had shown that even the most dangerous species could be understood and respected, rather than eradicated or defeated. This new approach, which combined patience, empathy, and a deep understanding of both biology and behavior, began to influence galactic peacekeeping efforts. As a result, humanity became a model for conflict resolution and ecological conservation. The concept of taming or understanding powerful creatures in the galaxy, rather than exterminating them, began to take root. Species that had once considered violent expansion or overwhelming force as their primary means of dealing with threats started to rethink their strategies. Humans had proven that survival didn't always require the elimination of the enemy. It could involve coexistence, respect, and collaboration. The story of humanity's alliance with the Feraxis also had a profound impact on the field of galactic diplomacy. Human diplomats and peacekeepers were now in high demand. especially as the galaxy grew more interconnected. Other species sought human expertise in establishing peaceful coexistence with their own dangerous or misunderstood creatures. This demand for human diplomats, trained in conflict resolution, cultural sensitivity, and ecological balance, marked the beginning of humanity's rise as a major diplomatic force across the stars. Furthermore, the relationship between humans and the Feraxis ignited new conversations about the role of apex predators in galactic ecosystems. Scientists, conservationists, and ecologists from various species began to study the Feraxis and other similar creatures with renewed interest. Questions about the role of predators in maintaining environmental balance, the ethics of hunting, and the importance of preserving biodiversity gained traction. Humanity, through its unlikely alliance, had not only saved a colony, but had sparked a broader movement toward ecological awareness and the importance of preserving natural balances across the galaxy. In this shifting paradigm, the alliance between humanity and the Feraxis was more than just a tactical victory. It was the beginning of a new era in galactic relations, one in which understanding, empathy, and respect for nature played as significant a role as military strength and technological superiority. By forging this unexpected alliance, humanity had not only saved its colony, but had also demonstrated that sometimes the greatest warriors are those who can see beyond the surface, those who can recognize the value of life in all its forms, no matter how fierce or fearsome. The story of humanity's alliance with the Feraxis also had lasting implications for how the galaxy viewed humanity's role in galactic politics. Before the alliance, humans were often seen as a relatively young species with limited influence on the larger intergalactic stage. They were admired for their ingenuity and adaptability, but their ability to form meaningful, lasting partnerships with other species was still in question. However, the events on Riva changed this perception completely. Humans had not only survived but had forged a powerful bond with one of the most feared and deadly creatures in the galaxy, using intelligence, patience, and empathy rather than brute force. This unexpected success sent shockwaves through the galaxy's political landscape. Leaders of other species began to take notice of the humans' growing diplomatic influence. The alliance between humans and the Feraxis became a case study for how even the most difficult, seemingly insurmountable conflicts could be resolved through cooperation rather than destruction. The humans had shown that they were capable of understanding the complex systems that governed alien ecosystems, and their ability to adapt to and respect these systems made them valuable partners. As word of humanity's triumph spread, the Galactic Council began to reassess humanity's position within the interstellar community. Humans, who had once been viewed as naive newcomers, were now seen as a species capable of innovating new approaches to galactic challenges. The success of the Riva Alliance was cited in diplomatic circles as proof that humans had a unique understanding of balance, both ecological and social, that was essential in maintaining peace and harmony across the galaxy. This recognition was pivotal in increasing humanity's role in diplomatic affairs, and as a result, human ambassadors and diplomats were sought after by various galactic factions to mediate and resolve disputes. In the years following the Feraxis Alliance, a series of new diplomatic programs and alliances were formed, inspired by humanity's approach to conflict resolution. The Universal Diplomatic Corps, a human-led initiative, grew in prominence, providing training in ecological diplomacy, nonviolent conflict resolution, and interspecies cooperation. Human diplomats became the go-to figures for situations that required delicate handling, where brute force and intimidation were not viable options. The lessons learned from the Feraxis Alliance were incorporated into a broader philosophy that emphasized peaceful coexistence, even with the most dangerous and misunderstood species. Additionally, the success of the alliance influenced scientific and ecological policies across the galaxy. Researchers, conservationists, and ecologists began to work more closely with humans, focusing on how to protect vulnerable species and maintain the balance of interstellar ecosystems. The Feraxis, once seen as a monstrous predator to be feared, was now viewed through a more nuanced lens. The creature's role in the ecosystem and its intrinsic connection to the planetary balance of Riva were recognized as crucial to understanding galactic biodiversity. Humans had demonstrated the importance of viewing creatures like the Feraxis not as enemies to be eliminated, but as integral parts of the natural order that needed to be respected and preserved. The lasting impact of the alliance was also seen in how it shaped future human exploration and colonization efforts. Human settlements, both on Reva and beyond, began to incorporate ecological balance into their strategies for expansion. Future human colonies were designed with a focus on sustainability and respect for native wildlife, ensuring that new environments were not disrupted by overzealous development or the exploitation of resources. The Feraxis Alliance became a key symbol for humanity's evolving approach to exploration, one that prioritized harmony over conquest and understanding over domination. This shift in perspective also had a profound effect on how humans interacted with the broader galactic community. The Alliance demonstrated that humans were willing to learn from their mistakes and adapt to new challenges, even when those challenges involved some of the galaxy's most dangerous predators. This humility and willingness to learn became a cornerstone of human diplomacy. It helped foster a reputation for humans as problem solvers who were not only capable of surviving the impossible, but also of building lasting relationships based on mutual respect. Ultimately, the story of humanity's alliance with the Feraxis marked the beginning of a new chapter in galactic diplomacy, where respect for life and the understanding of natural forces were valued just as highly as technological prowess or military might. The success of the Reva colony and its newfound relationship with the Feraxis served as a powerful reminder to the galaxy that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in overpowering one's enemies but in finding common ground with them, even if they are the most fearsome predators in the known universe.